When purchasing a gaming laptop, you have to make a decision on display type, and once that choice is made, you're kind of stuck with it. While you can of course connect the laptop to an external desktop monitor, they are not exactly portable. For those who need a higher resolution display on their laptop for work, but want the ability to have higher refresh rate gaming everywhere, the XG17 might solve that problem, but for a price. Okay, I'm gonna try to not overhype this monitor, but it really is one of my favorite pieces of tech. I'll get the bad news out of the way up front. This thing is pretty expensive, especially for a portable gaming monitor. $499 for the monitor itself and $599 if you want the carrying case and stand. Don't make the same mistake I did and buy the stand. I don't think it's worth it. It does have great build quality on the outside using weighty metal materials and a very convenient clip mount to easily pop on and off the monitor, but the height extension has a few problems. I found that it had a hard time holding the weight of the monitor, and when fully extended, the weight of the monitor would push it down. And when it does stay extended, the rod wobbles and the monitor leans crookedly to one side. There are alternative stands that you can use, which I'll cover more later in the video, but both versions come with a cover that magnetically attaches to protect the screen and also doubles as a wobbly stand. Okay, with that out of the way, the monitor itself is fantastic. The 1080p display is plenty sharp for the 17-inch size, the 3 millisecond response time feels very fast, and the 240Hz refresh rate with adaptive sync keeps gameplay responsive and smooth. It's an IPS panel, so you get good viewing angles and color accuracy. My Spider 5 Pro is reading it at 93% of the sRGB and 73% of the P3 color gamut. The peak brightness on my unit is sitting around 285 nits, which is plenty bright for my use cases, and I would imagine most others as well. But if you plan to use this outside, you may need to find some shade. I have also noticed some backlight bleed when playing in a dark room and the monitor is displaying a dark scene, but nothing that has really hindered my experience, and this is fairly common with IPS displays anyway. All of this combined, and games look and play incredible on it. When playing fast-paced shooters, I'm not noticing any ghosting or motion blur. And at this 17-inch screen size, a 1080p resolution has a pixel density of 129 ppi, which is higher than many desktop monitors, just meaning that games look really sharp on this display. I usually game on a 25-inch Full HD display and find it very easy to switch between the two. Depending on the game I'm playing, I actually sometimes prefer the 17-inch size for that higher pixel density. I typically pair this monitor with an ASUS Zephyrus G14 using a single USB-C cable that can provide the monitor power, audio, and video with adaptive sync at the full 240Hz. There's also the option to use micro HDMI, which can also output at the full 240Hz, but it won't support adaptive sync and it will not provide the monitor any power. This will work well with the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles, as you can run 1080p at 120 frames per second on supported games. But you will need to make sure to plug in the monitor for longer play sessions, as the 7800 mAh battery will last you around 3 hours. Now, it's nice to have the option to use a larger display with the G14, but it's not always necessary, as the G14 has a 1080p 144Hz display. I could see this monitor being great for those who have a gaming laptop with higher resolutions or lower refresh rates, who also want the ability to play competitive games on the go. If you're willing to spend the extra money, of course, you can get the best of both worlds. The bezels on the top and the sides are very thin, and below the display are two 1-watt speakers. They are very tinny sounding. They don't sound great, but it's convenient to have regardless. On the left is the power button and menu navigation buttons. Below that are the USB-C and micro HDMI display inputs that I mentioned earlier, along with a headphone jack. Now, usually a headphone jack wouldn't be anything special to talk about, but the onboard DAC is surprisingly good. I read somewhere that they're using the same DAC found in a few of their motherboards, so you're getting very high audio quality when listening with headphones through this device. You can mount this monitor from the back to any standard camera mount with a 1/4-inch screw. This has actually proven to be very useful for me. I like to use the Elgato multi-mount and heavy base to create a second gaming screen in the living room when the family is using the main TV. The whole unit is very thin at 0.4 inches and fairly light at just over 2 pounds, so it fits easily in a bag without adding too much extra weight. The mostly aluminum build feels solid overall with very little flex, but the included cover does not give me a whole lot of confidence to protect the screen. So I would recommend buying a case with more padding if you plan to travel with it often. ASUS also included their Game Plus features, along with your typical monitor settings. So you can add crosshair overlays, frame rate counters, and timers from the menu, along with adjusting the pixel response time, and you can view the battery percentage there. Even though it's expensive, this really feels like a no-compromise portable gaming monitor. It's reasonably compact and light and has all the features you've come to expect from a standard desktop monitor. As long as you're okay with paying the premium, it doesn't get much better than this.